Hello, my name is Bruno. I am 27 years old and I'm a student of aircraft design at the Moscow Aviation Institute. Today, I want to tell you my story. I was born 27 years ago in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in a family of teachers. When I was a kid, I dreamed of being an astronaut. I finished high school being one of the best students in my city. Thanks to this, I won a scholarship to study for 6 weeks at the University of California in San Diego in the United States. This was a huge turning point in my career because I discovered incredible places, passions, people that are still with me today. I also learned a new language that allowed me to travel and get into new cultures and jobs. At the end of this exchange, back in Argentina, I started my studies of mechanical engineering at the National Technological University. During my studies, I had several jobs related to the technical area. The longest and most important one, in which I worked for 5 years, was related to industrial testing equipment. As I was working for an international company, I had the opportunity to attend trainings in different countries. Traveling in between, I decided to start a private pilot course. I flew many hours, and it is one of the things I'm passionate about. Among all those trips I was able to do, there was one that changed me. In 2018, with family and friends, we decided to go to Russia to watch the Football World Cup. We visited several cities: Moscow, St. Petersburg, Sochi. In the capital, I felt like it was one of my places in the world. The immensity of the buildings, the infrastructure, the transportation, all this crossed by a cultural and historical atmosphere really dazzled me and awaiting me the desire to learn more about this country. This is why in 2019, I started Russian language studies. In 2020, something wasn't right. I was feeling I needed change in my life. The COVID pandemic came, then we began a process of thinking about my future. I was doing well in my job, happy with my studies, but I was feeling I needed something more. At this point, I started to investigate different possibilities to study or work abroad. One of the things I always dreamed about was studying how airplanes work. How can those giant metal birds fly over our heads? And when you think about airplanes, it instantly comes to your mind that there are 4 or 5 places in the world that are ideal for learning about them. One of those places is Russia. Because of its tradition, its history, and also because of its future. The opportunities that Russia offers in this field are quite hard to find in other countries and almost impossible to find back in my home country in Argentina. Another important point is that in Russia, students can work legally with a student visa. I started contacting different universities, finding out what were the options, the programs for foreign students. I found out that it was quite easy to link up with international departments because there are always people who speak English and the language barrier becomes smaller. After a long time thinking and researching, in 2021, I made the decision to move to Moscow to study at the Moscow Aviation Institute. The support of the international department and the willingness to answer my queries were crucial in my decision. In my case, I'm studying on a scholarship basis, and this scholarship is given by the Russian Ministry of Education. So the process of applying for this scholarship included interviews with the selection committee of the Rosatrudnichestvo agency in Argentina. They are the ones who decided that the government of Russia would pay for my studies. Then it was time to be accepted by university. To apply to this scholarship, it was needed to choose several ones in several universities. And you need to assign some priority. I chose Moscow Aviation Institute and then some universities in Novosibirsk and Kazan as the following choices. But by the time of the interviews, the international department of my university had already indicated that I would be accepted, so they sent me a letter of recommendation to ease the scholarship process. As the program I am studying is in Russian, I first had to attend preparatory faculty to improve my language skills. Language prior to arrival is something I would highly recommend to those who plan to study here. You can survive without it, but it opens doors to new words and people, and it makes everyday life easier. At my foreigners study in separate groups from Russians, although some theory classes are shared. Also, in the first years, there are many subjects in common between the different faculties, so you have joint classes with other groups of foreigners. I think this is really great because you can always find a friend, a competitor, or someone that also speaks your language and is willing to help. I mean, it's always easier to understand these topics in university when you study with someone else. One of the things I like about MAI is that, for example, in our group of foreigners, we have students from almost 20 different countries. I mean, we share lessons with students from different African countries, from Nigeria, from Burundi, from Zimbabwe, also Latin American students from Bolivia, from Paraguay, Asian students like Mongolia, China. I mean, I guess this is something really interesting because, first of all, we become more tolerant because we understand the difference in different cultures. We share different experience. I guess this is a good opportunity to meet people from different places. If you're planning to have a professional career in a different place that's not your home country. So when you share your lessons and your student life every day with someone from a different place, you can discover a place that might be of your interest for the future, or also make some connections with someone that might help you find a job, or someone that may have a friend or a company or something like this. So I guess sharing your life with people from many different places is something that might really give a plus to your studies and to your career. Lessons are usually divided into theoretical and practical ones, but they're not always taught by the same profession. The way to pass the subjects varies according to semester and the subject itself. Some of them can pass with classwork, some of them with midterm exams, and some of them only with final exam. Compared to my experience as a student in Argentina, I think that here in Russia, the work of the students and the participation of the students during the lessons is highly valued. One of the things I most like about MAI are the laboratories and everything you can find inside the university. When you walk around the university, you find engines, you find planes, you have rockets, all around the university, in the laboratories, in the hangar. I guess this is really important because you can touch them, you can get on them, you can get on planes, you can see the systems, the different parts. I guess this is part of the Russian tradition in aviation, and one of the things why I chose this country to study. The subjects we study are not only the ones of our specialty. I mean, in my first year, we studied Russian history, economics, law, philosophy. Some of those are really interesting from my point of view to understand the context of the country, to see how difference in the way people are taught can shape the way they think. Another interesting thing in MAI is that they usually organize engineering competitions or contests in which you need to find solutions for real engineering problems. Also, we have this summer practice in which you need to design something, to make some presentations and commercial presentation. It gives you a really good practice and background for your professional life. Also, if you are studying in the IT faculty, they usually organize lots of hackathons in which students participate together with the judges from big IT companies. So it might give you some good connections for your professional future. It's true that combining work and study is tough, but my classmates, my professors, also my bosses at work are always open to help me or give me flexibility when I need it. In addition, you need to choose a sport and play it throughout your studies. The options are endless. I mean, soccer or football, basketball, volleyball, tennis, swimming, martial arts, rugby. I mean, really many options. If you're good enough at the sport practice, you can become part of the university team and represent the university in university tournaments. Student life does not end with lessons. Outside the classroom, interesting social activities are organized, such as visits to museums or cultural activities. There is also a volunteer center that is actively involved in charity work and events, both inside and outside the university. Although I still have 3 more years of studies ahead, I can say that coming to Russia is one of the best decisions I made in my life. So, if we make a review, we have a good student life, we have international connections, we have a country in which aviation is super important, one of the main countries in the world about this topic. We have super cool laboratories with lots of parts, with airplanes, with things to see and to touch and to get into them. Yes, definitely, I would highly recommend MAI for every foreign student that wants to study in Russia and in aviation.